What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Gameweek 31 deadline stream. We've got about 43 minutes until the deadline, so we have a few things to talk about before we get there. I've still got one free transfer to make for this week, which I'm going to use. We're also going to talk about the predicted points for this week, the clean sheet odds, the scout selection, and the goal scorer odds. I think for a lot of people this week, the plan is definitely to sell Rashford to Grealish, as far as I can see. I plan on keeping Rashford because I expect him to be back for game week 34, so I'm going to hold him. Morning, Brian. Nice seeing you in the stream, mate. Appreciate you being here. Hope you're having a good morning. How'd you get on in game week 30, Brian? How was your game week? Yeah, and also Kepa on the bench for this week. Even though Lampard's come out and said that he doesn't think Kepa's going to lose his place, there's no reason to change. I still just prefer starting Raya and nets per week this week. And I currently have Shaw starting in the team, but I think I am going to change that to S opinion before the deadline, because I just do feel that Brighton will score. Brighton are arguably one of the most informed teams in the league at the minute, so I'm definitely not confident about Chelsea's ability to score or keep a clean sheet this week. And Chilwell will also be the player that makes way this week, which could come back to bite me, but it is what it is. I just feel like the upside's higher if I go for this other player that I'm considering bringing in. So yeah, that's the plan at the minute. Brian says 68 points, 447k overall. Is that a green arrow, Brian, or was that a red arrow? 68 points. How many points did I get? I can't remember. Let me check. I got 69 points, so you're just 1 point behind me. This is how we got on last week. The defence had an absolute disaster class. Rob says, I'm undecided on Stu versus Shaw. If I remember correctly, let me see. I think that Nottingham Forest have scored in every home game they've played, maybe since the restart. Let me try find let me see. I'll just double check this because I want to be sure. Let me see. Away, home they scored, away, home they scored, away, home, 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 home. So the last time they didn't score at home was game week 4. So, I mean, you would put your money on them scoring, especially with United having so many players out. Like, I probably will end up doing this, taking out Shaw and putting in Estepina. That's probably what I will do. Because I just think Chelsea's clean sheet chances are low. Brian says this week sold Chile and Rashford for Trent and Morris. Good moves, I like those. Green arrow, nice. Yeah, Nottingham Forest are much stronger at home. I mean, if we take a look at the clean sheet odds, there we go. So we can see that, of course, Man City are top with a 52% chance of keeping a clean sheet, and then we have United with a 45% chance. The thing is to remember though, these clean sheet odds were probably made before the injuries that hit United. So I would say the clean sheet odds for United are much lower now. They're definitely much lower after the Europa League games. I mean, I think there's only like Lindelof and Maguire that can play as two centre backs for United at the minute. So I mean, that's definitely an issue. Obviously Shaw is not 100%, but we expect him to play given United's injury situation. And then we have Aston Villa's up there as well. So if you did bring in Tyrone Mings a couple of weeks ago, then it's looking good again this week. Our Chelsea have a 39.5% chance of keeping out Brighton, which as a Chelsea fan, I think should be 10 times lower, personally. I think Brighton have a far better chance of keeping out Chelsea than Chelsea have of keeping out Brighton. I mean, I can't remember the last time Chelsea scored. It's really bad, and Brighton just looks so dangerous. I think Pep actually said recently that they're one of the best teams in modern football at the way they play. So I've gone triple Brighton for this week. I've started triple Brighton against the team I support. So I mean, that may tell you something. And I'm also looking to take out Chilwell. So yeah, Southampton are last with their clean sheet odds as usual. Bournemouth are low down there, 17%. That's obviously a shout for Keane captaincy if you're interested. Where's Leicester at? Leicester have a 37.5% chance of a clean sheet. Is that right? Am I looking at the right clean sheet odds here? Let me check, because I feel like that's... I think that might be last week's and I didn't change it. Yeah, it is. That's last week's and I didn't change it. I was wondering, there was something wrong there. There we go. That's more like it. Completely ignore everything I said for the last 3 minutes. That's the proper clean sheet odds with Leicester at the bottom. Man United at 39.5%. Probably lower now. Chelsea 27%. Chelsea and Brighton exactly the same with clean sheet odds. So there we go. That's more like it. I was wondering, I thought something was up. Brian says, I'm considering a major punt between benching Watkins and playing March and Matoma. I fancy a Newcastle clean sheet in Chelsea or Chelsea. I know what you mean, Brian, and I did have Botman and Trippier starting the entire week together, but I've now benched Botman because I just feel like Watkins will score. Especially the fact that Villa are playing at home. So if I'm being completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of that punt. If I'm being totally honest, but I would play March and Matoma. Definitely, as a Chelsea fan, I definitely would play. I have March and Matoma starting at the minute, but I'm just not a fan of benching Watkins because I think the form he's in at the minute, the form Aston Villa are in at the minute, and also Aston Villa playing at home. I think that's a good recipe for Watkins to return. Team would be Steele, Trent, Trippier, Gabriel, Mahrez, Grealish, Saka, March, Matoma, Keane, Haaland. Steele, Trent, Trippier, Gabriel, Mahrez. I mean, that is a good team. It is a good team. Like your team's not really weak at any stages there. I mean, it's just up for debate whether you would bench one of the Brighton players for Watkins. You know, that is up for debate. And if we actually take a look at the predicted points, we can see what the state of the predicted points are for this week. So, of course, Haaland tops the predicted points as expected with 7.49 predicted points, with Leicester at home as a fixture. I mean, one of the easiest, if not the easiest fixtures City could have at the minute. Then De Bruyne follow closely behind. Salah also up there with 6.64 predicted points. And then we have Mahrez, which is good for Brian. Up there, Grealish nowhere to be seen, which is interesting. Nowhere to be seen. Then Keane, obviously, as I said, is a captaincy shout, but he's only predicted 6.47, so he's predicted at least a point less than Keane for this week. Then we have Son, of course, Perisic as well. Fernandes, yet again, in the predicted points. So you'd really be hoping, especially as a Fernandes owner myself, I mean, I'm really hoping that this is the week where he does get that return. I mean, he has blanked in his last 3 or 4 games, I think, which is just incredibly frustrating. At the time, I was aware that it maybe wasn't the best transfer move, but it turned out to be an absolute disaster of a transfer move. So I'm really hoping that this week he could pay me back before I probably get rid of him. I probably will get rid of him in the near future. And then making up the predicted points, we have Saka and Martinelli. That's the one thing I'm worried about this week, is keeping the Arsenal players quiet. I think if I can keep the Arsenal players quiet, then it looks good for a green arrow. But if not, then maybe in trouble. I mean, the Arsenal players have always been the kind of problem for my rank, and not owning any of them was a pretty dangerous move, but it hasn't gone too bad recently, especially with being up inside the top 100k. Rob says, I'm playing Raya, S2, Trippier, me, March, Matoma, Saka, Grealish, Watkins, Keane, Vice Captain, Haaland Captain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. That's a nice team. I like that team. It's very similar to my team. If we switch back on over to my team, so I'm also starting Raya, S2, Trippier. I have Chilwell at the minute, but he will make way for a City defender. And then we have Grealish, Fernandes, Matoma, March, Watkins, Haaland, Keane. Haaland captain, obviously. So yeah, nice team, Rob. Similar to mine. Hopefully it's a good week for our teams. I would love another green arrow, to be honest. No, I don't think you are overthinking it, Brian. I think go with your gut, you know? I mean, just because Watkins returned in his last 5 games doesn't mean he's going to return in the next game, you know? You have to play the cards that are, you know, that you're dealt with and that are in front of you, and if you feel you can get a high upside, then go for it. I mean, you're right in saying that the free hit in double game week 34 will be very template, because it will be. So, you know, if you feel like you don't have a lot to lose, then definitely go for it. That's would be my advice. If you like the upside, you feel like you don't have a lot to lose, then go for it. Definitely. I need to decide which City defender I'm going to bring in. I don't know for sure which one I want to bring in. I don't know which one's nailed. Like, does anybody in the chat kind of have any knowledge on City players? Because I'm just not sure. I don't want to go for the one that's most at risk of minutes. I mean, if I go Stones or if I go Diaz, kind of limits me. So I want to go for the slightly cheaper option. I like the idea of Ake. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like, do we think Ake is going to be benched, or what do we think? Do we think Ake is safe for minutes? I mean, Stones is maybe also another option. Like, I just need Ake to play this weekend, because then it's a week off, and then they play Arsenal, so he'll definitely play, and then I'm hoping he'll play in the double. Like, if I bring in Ake, that gives me one remaining. He has said that. Right, okay. That fills me with more confidence, but as we know, Pep is the ultimate troll, so he'd probably drop him now. It wouldn't even surprise me if he drops him. That's the thing I'm worried about, though. I'm worried about bringing in a City defender and then them getting dropped. Yeah, Stones is a good shout, yeah. I think I probably will go Ake. I mean, 5.1 million. One of the cheapest City defenders. And also one of the most nailed. And then it allows me to make moves later on. I'm going to hold off. Actually, I'm going to hold off. Yeah, I'm just going to hold off until the deadline. Just, you know, just see what sort of news we get. Just if we get any news prior to the deadline. Just, I always like to wait as late as possible. In order to see whatever info we can get. Even though it's likely that it'll be none. But it's worth waiting, I would say. I'm never a fan of making early transfers. Yeah, that's the thing, Brian. Like, all these people are bringing in Grealish this week. It wouldn't surprise me if Grealish is benched. Like, genuinely. I'm just lucky because I made the move to him last week, which turned out to be a great move. Gained me 14 points. That Haaland and Grealish for Madison and Tony move. But if I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's benched this week. Like, he's played too many fixtures for Pep for him to not now be benched. So, yeah. What? Oh wait, look at the goal scorer odds. We can take a look at the goal scorer odds. We're about 28 minutes away from the deadline. We can also look at the scout selection after, but first we'll look at the goal scorer odds. So of course, topping it as no surprise is Haaland with 58.5% chance of scoring anytime this weekend. Then we have Kane, Salah, Alvarez also high up there, which is interesting. 40% chance. Mahrez, which is good to see for you, Brian. 38% chance. Then Darwin, we have Son. Jesus back again after rising during Easter. Tony, Wilson, Felix. Felix always pops up in these goal scorer odds and he just never scores because he plays for Chelsea. So that always makes me laugh. And then De Bruyne is 30.5% chance of scoring this week. So Ihan says, hi mate, Mac 10 to Grealish for a -4, Lallana back in training which might push Mac defensive, or I have Matoma and March as well. Yeah, I'm not completely against that, to be honest. What other move did you make this week, Ihan, that's meaning you're making that for a -4? The only thing is the small chance that Grealish gets benched because Pep roulette. So it's always risky taking a -4 for a City player. That's the only thing I'll say. Yeah, Mahrez, Brian, I've been trolled so often by Mahrez in the past. I mean, I've brought him in numerous times for a space of like 5 weeks every single time, and he's blanked consistently every single week. I don't think I've ever owned Mahrez when he's returned, and then as soon as I've got rid of him, he's returned. So he is my biggest FPL enemy. But he's definitely a shout. Chilwell to Ake. I like that move, Ihan. That's probably the move I'm going to make this week. Mac 10 to Grealish. If you already own 2 other Brighton mids, then I would make that move because you already are covering a good part of the Brighton midfield. You are giving up penalties, so Brighton penalties, which is something you want to consider. But apart from that, I do like that move. If I'm being honest, I do like it. So yeah, there's the goal scorer odds. Take a look at the scout selection this week. It's been a while since we've looked at it. So in nets they've gone with De Gea, then they've gone Trent, Pedro Porro, who's really high on the predicted points for this week. Extremely high. So as a 1 week punt, I would say Pedro Porro is my one week punt for sure. Then we have Keane as well. Fulham at home. It's a good fixture, I suppose, for Everton. Not the best, but a good enough fixture. Then Salah, Mahrez, Martinelli, Matoma, and Elise. Elise was a player I was basically set on bringing in at the start of the week, and then as time kind of gone on, and I saw Chelsea play more, and also I just looked at the kind of future in the Gameweek 34 and the doubles there. I just felt like I was going to instead take out Chilwell, which is a bit of a risk because Chelsea could somehow have a miracle and keep a clean sheet, but I just can't see it happening. I mean, I would put money on Brighton scoring. That's how confident I am that the clean sheet will be wiped out. So that's why I've gone with Ake instead. And then they have Haaland and Kane up top, obviously. No Watkins, which is interesting. No Watkins this week, but understandable. I mean, Aston Villa are playing Newcastle, which, you know, Newcastle have a great defence. No Grealish as well. They've gone for Mahrez instead. How many players do I have from that team? 1, 2, 3. 3 players, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's also funny how little the scout actually rates Chelsea as well, because they've actually started Matoma against Chelsea away, you know, which just shows you the state Chelsea are currently in. Brian says they're using the free hit next week. I am indeed. I will be free hitting in game week 32. I've seen a lot of talk about free hit 34, and whilst I get it for some teams, it just wouldn't work for my team. I mean, next week I have let's see if I switch back over to this screen. So next week I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players blanking. So I'd only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a possible 5 players that could play. So that just wouldn't work for me. My team, I committed to free hit 32 a long time ago, and I've also noticed that I can get a really strong team in game week 34 without having to free hit. If we actually take a look at plan FPL, we can talk through some moves or what the plan is. Yeah, Brian, that's actually right. Watkins is the early kickoff this week. I forgot about that completely, but that's a good shout. So if we take a look, so game week 31, we'll start March. Estepina over Botman. Chilwell we drop out, say for Ake. Wait, I'm gonna go full screen as well so you can see this. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, Ake. We'll go full screen for this. There we go. So we're full screen now. So this is game week 31 team. We'll go Shaw here. Yeah, so this is my team for game week 31. And then 32. 32, I haven't really decided on my free hit team yet. I'm not really 100% sure. But I'm more concerned about 33. So in 33, team looks good there. Rashford may still be injured. I'm probably at this point I'll probably take out Fernandes. Bring in Salah. And then I'll probably drop out Kane. This will probably be the point where I get rid of Kane and bring in somebody like Darwin. And that'll be a -4, and it'll still leave me 0.8 in the bank. Start Kappa. I mean, I probably could also get rid of the keeper at some point. Yeah, apart from that, that's probably what my team will be. I mean, that's a good team. Obviously, City play Arsenal, which isn't ideal, but I still think that's a strong team for 33. And then 34, I can get, I think my team is extremely strong for 34. Even drop, say, Watkins will definitely drop out. Say that if I want. And even if I wanted, I mean, that's kind of where the team would be. I don't know what transfer I'd make. I mean, I could, and I have eyed up this, making that move to Alisson and then playing like that. So that would be my team in game week 34. I mean, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 11 doubles in game week 34. And I've only had to take a hit in game week 33. But like, I think this is a good team. I mean, Brighton have a good double, City have a good double, United have a good double, Liverpool have a good double. I mean, I obviously am stacking quite heavily on 3 teams, but I think it's good. Like, I just feel like if I was to free hit in 34, my team wouldn't look really that much different from this, if you know what I mean. So if my team wouldn't look that different from this, then there's no need for me to free hit in 34, because I can field 11 players, I can field 11 players without taking a hit, or I can field 11 double game week players without taking a hit, and game week 32 I can only field 5 players or something, and even like if I take a hit I can only field 7 players, so the upside for me is just free hit 32, take a hit if I need in 33, and then have a strong team in 34. And yeah, as I said, I like this team. I mean, I think Darwin is obviously a troll, but the only player I would maybe like to have in for this double would probably be De Bruyne. But you can't have everything, and I do expect Rashford to be back for that double. So yeah, that's the team, that's the plan for this week. I'm just gonna check we got any early team news. Not that I can see. Edward says, for this game week, it's a -4 to put Mahrez in over Maddison and Elise over Rashford Wise. Then free hit in 32. I'm not the biggest fan of selling Rashford, especially for Elise. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan. I feel like Rashford will maybe be back sooner than we expect. I mean, Eric Ten Hag says he hopes that thing is back in 30, or Rashford's back for the second leg of the Sevilla game. So that's something to bear in mind, that Rashford could be back for game week 34. And then I think when we get to game week 34, you'll wish you had Rashford. And whilst Elise is a good shout, I don't know if I'd bring him in, because then you bring him in and then you know he has a good fixture in game week 32 as well. And then what? Are you gonna take him out again? Like, let's just see. Like that Everton at home fixture, you want to keep him. So are you going to keep him in the free hit, and then it's one less transfer you're making in the free hit team? So I really don't know about those moves. I like Mahrez for Maddison. I do. If you can make that if you can make that without taking a hit, then I like that. But I don't know about bringing in Elise for Rashford. At the time, to be fair, earlier in the week I did consider doing that, but the more news that's come out about Rashford, the more I'm happy holding him, and I can maybe get Elise at some other point if I want. But I think we just have to maybe take our time with the Elise shout and just give it some more time, and don't knee jerk him in. It would be my advice, because he's never been a consistent player, or a consistent returner, should I say. I mean, if we take a look at his stats, we can see so like prior to game week 30, his last return was game week 24, which was 6 weeks ago. So I mean, I think we just have to be careful. Although they do have really good fixtures, and I did make a YouTube short about him, I just would take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, it's just a Mahrez move. I like that. If you can do that, then do that. 100%. I think I'm going to make this transfer soon, but Abamat says Mbuemo or Maddison to start. Mbuemo or Maddison to start. Mbuemo or Maddison to start. Who do you... Let me see. Mbuemo or Maddison? Mbuemo. I would start Mbuemo. Maybe Ederson. Ederson's a good shout, yeah. If I didn't already have kind of transfer sorted out, I would make that Ederson transfer. I also don't have the funds to make the transfer to Ederson this week, so that's why I'm going for Ake instead. But it's good to see you in the stream, George. If you do have some questions before the deadline, then please do let me know. We're 15 minutes away from the deadline. If you are enjoying the stream, please do drop a like. Also, make sure to check out my channel and subscribe if you like the content you see. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers. We're 9 away from 300 at the minute. So if we can hit 300 before the end of the season, then that would be really appreciated. So if you are new, then please do drop the channel a subscribe. Yeah, I'm going to make that Ake move now, I think. I'm trying to see if there's any early news. I just want to be 100% sure before I make my move. There's a lot of people actually making that Chilwell Ake move this week, which is interesting. Right, so Fantasy Football Scout Luke, who does City's predicted lineup, and he's usually pretty spot on. Says he likes Ake as long-term pick, so I think I'm gonna make that move now. Just so, actually, maybe I'll hold off. I don't think that the servers will crash this week. I think we're all right. So maybe I'll just hold off, even though we're not going to get any early team news because City is the 5:30 kickoff. We can also, just before the deadline, take another look at the predicted points for this week. So, as we already discussed, Haaland is of course top. Be interested to see what the captaincy is like for the stream. So if you are in the stream, let me know who you're captain this week. I mean, I'm pretty sure the obvious shouts is Haaland, maybe Salah or Kane. But if there's any differential captaincy this week, then please do let me know. It'll be interesting to hear why you're not captaining Haaland. For me, Haaland will be my captain this week. That's locked in. I think he's the best option for captaincy this week. Salah with a great fixture against Leeds, but Liverpool have been really inconsistent. But to be fair to Salah, he's probably been Liverpool's most consistent player this season. He's just been unfortunate that he's surrounded by pretty poor players. Perisic also up there. That's a good shout if you have Perisic. Could be a good week for you. Fernandes. Hopefully, if Fernandes is playing more attacking, then it could be a good week for us Fernandes owners. But if he's playing anyway like he has done recently, then it's going to be a long game week. Brian says 276,000 brought in Elise. Jeez, that's 250,000 people brought in Elise. I mean, maybe they know something I don't. I mean, like I said, I did make a YouTube short about Elise because I do feel like he's a good option, but I also feel like, we don't want to knee jerk too quickly. Play 3: Trippier, Estepinian, Henry, Shaw, Burn. So I would definitely play Trippier, Estepinian, and then Henry. I would start Trippier, Estepinian and Henry, have Shaw first in the bench, and then Burn second on the bench. I mean, if we take a look at the clean sheet odds, actually, we can see that we've got Trippier. Where's Newcastle at? Newcastle, 34% chance. Brighton, 27% chance. Brentford, 29% chance. So that's what I would start. That's what I would do. Trippier, Estepinian, Henry, Shaw first on the bench, Burn second. Grealish is definitely the most popular transfer this week, so it wouldn't be surprised if he gets benched. I've also made good money on Grealish, thankfully, from bringing him in last week. Moria says Bruno Fernandes being suspended for Seville means that Eriksen has to play there, which means Bruno Fernandes will play again deeper this week. Yeah, I think you're right. Unfortunately, I think you're right. And it's like the optimism that Bruno will actually play further up, but United's in such a mess at the minute with their team that Bruno has just been basically playing as a centre back. Like, he genuinely has been playing almost as deep as the centre backs recently, and even from that position he's still been creating chances, which is so interesting. But he's just not been getting the returns you would hope, but also not getting in the positions to score himself, which is frustrating. I think I just got very unlucky with the timing of my Bruno transfer, because as I brought Bruno in, United just fell apart. I did know Casemiro was suspended at the time I brought him in, and I was aware that Bruno would be playing deeper because of that, but I kind of ignored that, which was a bad shout in my end. But we all make mistakes. Henry, Pinnock, Botman and Estepinian. Which order to bench? I would maybe start Henry and Pinnock and Estepinian and then bench Botman. But I would probably play Estepinian first, then Henry, then Pinnock, then Botman maybe. Yeah, Brian, that's so true. He's an expensive Madison. What about Madison? I'm glad I got rid of Madison last week. Should I start Kepa or Raya, considering I'm also starting Henry and Lampard hinting that there might... So Lampard has come out and also said that Kepa is not likely to lose his place. In the embargoed press conference quotes last night, he says he sees no reason to change it, and that apparently Mendy also is carrying a small injury. The thing is, Brighton and Chelsea... Well, let's go back to clean sheet odds, because we can always rely on the clean sheet odds to help discuss. So if we're looking at Chelsea have a 27% chance of keeping a clean sheet, whilst Brighton have a 29% chance of keeping a clean sheet. I would start Raya and just try and pray that Wolves don't score. I mean, I definitely think Brighton are going to score, put it that way. As a Chelsea fan myself, I would put money on Brighton scoring this week. So that's how I see it. So I would start Raya and just risk the double Brentford defence. Mario says, also, I don't like Chilwell against double Brighton mid, neither double Newcastle defence versus Watkins, but any transfer means. Wait, also don't like Chilwell against double Brighton. Double Brighton mid, neither double Newcastle defence versus Watkins, but any transfer means. I mean, I would either roll it. Well, if you're free hitting in 32, I wouldn't roll it. Or what I would do is, like I'm going to do now, is I would take out Chilwell and bring in a City defender. Because I'm actually taking out Chilwell now. I'm actually going to make that move now. I'm going to do Chilwell to Ake for this week. We're going to make that now. There's no point in me rolling a transfer this week because I am free hitting in 32. So I may as well use my transfer now. So Chilwell to Ake leaves me 1 million in the bank. Trippier or Zinchenko to start. Oh, that's a good one actually. Trippier to Zinchenko. Let me look at the clean sheet odds. Trippier or Zinchenko. Trippier or Zinchenko. I would probably have to say Zinchenko. I would probably say Zinchenko. If you're going purely off clean sheet, possibly, then I would have to say Zinchenko. But Trippier is also extremely dangerous across the pitch. Do I think Shaw will start? I don't know. That's a good question. Do I think Shaw will start? I think he will start, but he'll only play 45 to 60 minutes. Or he'll come on at half time and play 45 minutes. I mean, that's a really tough one. I really don't know. But I also don't think United's clean sheet chances are really good that week. Because Nottingham Forest have scored in every home game they've played this year since Gameweek 4. So I expect Nottingham Forest to score, especially given United's current defensive situation. Edward says McAllister or Pinnock to start. I would go McAllister. I'd back the midfielder. And Shaw might start centre back as well, yeah. Eze or Matoma for this week, and Chilwell or Estepinha. I would go Matoma. I probably would go Matoma, and then I'm getting rid of Chilwell for Ake, so I would go Estepinha. I'm actually starting Estepinha this week as well, and I'm benching Botman and Shaw. I just would be very surprised if Chelsea scored, to be fair. Chelsea haven't scored in 28 days, I think it is. So yeah, that's what I would do. We're 4 minutes away from the deadline, so if you have any more questions, let me know. I'm going to make this move now. We're going to Chilwell out, Ake in, make transfers, Chilwell to Ake, confirm transfers, and there we go. We are locked in for game week 31. Haaland captain, Kane vice captain. I've got Shaw first in the bench, with Botman second, and then Rashford third, because obviously he's not going to feature this week. But yeah, we have moved out Chilwell for Ake. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Marius. I do know what you're saying. I just think, I mean, this will be the week that that Leicester score, especially with the new manager bounce. But I'm also making the City defender move for the future. So yeah, that's why I'm making the move. For some reason it hasn't updated there. But City do have a nice double game week 34. They did indeed, Brian. They did give up goals for Lent. That's very true. That's very true. 40 days and 40 nights, no goals. Right, so we're locked in. So I'm going to make a tweet now. If you don't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at FPLFatherTed. That's when I tweet when I've uploaded my transfer plans, when I'm going to stream, etc. So do make sure to check me out over on Twitter. Chilwell to Ake, Haaland captain, rank 99k, good luck all. There we go. Watch Chilwell finally get the defensive return. I mean, he's been really close in recent weeks, so I wouldn't be surprised. Start 3. Susan says start 3. Which Henry, Botman, Trippier, Chilwell, Shaw. Start 3. Start which? Trippier definitely. Then Henry. Then it's either Botman or Chilwell. Oh no, maybe it's that's a good one. I think you risk it. I would go Henry, Trippier, Shaw, start those 3, and then have either Botman or Chilwell as your first sub. I think that's what I would do. Henry, Trippier, Shaw, Chilwell or Botman first sub. I do think Brighton will score, and I also think Aston Villa will score. So maybe you should do Henry, Trippier, Shaw, then Botman first sub and Chilwell second sub. But we're 1 minute away from the deadline. Make sure your team is locked in for this week. I have just tweeted my team, so I'm going to stick it in the chat. So please do give it a like, show it some support. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. If you are also new to the stream and you're enjoying what you see, please do drop me a subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, we're probably about 30 seconds away from the deadline. It's been a good deadline stream. A lot of things to talk about, but pretty easy. Not a lot of hard decisions to make this week. Well, so Chilwell for -4. So Marius finally give in. 2 million in the bank for next week's plans. Also went for Marius instead of Grealish. It'll be last risk of taking. God, overall rank 2.6k, 3. You're in a really good position, Marius. And to be fair, I like those moves. I mean, I understand what you mean about City could score, could concede, but I mean, Leicester in such poor form at the minute. I mean, I really hope they don't. But you're doing amazing at the minute, so I don't know why you're in here looking for my advice. But good luck this week. And we've just hit 11, so we are locked in. We're locked in for game week 31, which feels good. Next week is the free hit week, which is always exciting and always going to be stressful, trying to pick the best free hit team. So we'll just have to wait and see what the plans are. No free hit in 34, we are free hitting in 32 instead. So yeah, have a great game week, everyone. I don't think there's much to talk about now that the deadline's passed. We didn't end up getting any early team news, but I can't wait for that moment where I can click the free hit button. So once the game updates, that's what we will be doing. Basically, everybody on Twitter that I can see has taken out Chilwell, which is really interesting. Because I feel like this could be the week where he gets an attacking return. I don't think Chelsea will keep a clean sheet, but I mean Chilwell could end up getting an attacking return for sure. But fingers crossed he doesn't. I mean, I think the upside with going for a City defender is much higher this week, and I'm really hoping for a clean sheet. Appreciate you stopping by, Edward. Hope you have a good weekend and a good game week. Moria says, I like asking for advice from content creators since I don't have enough time to do the research myself during the week, and I'm grateful for it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Moria. I try my best to give. It's always hard giving people advice, especially if they're better ranked than you, but I'm just giving my honest opinion on how I would play the game. And I'm doing alright at the minute. You know, it's been prior to the World Cup break, I was around 20k or so, and then just had an unfortunate kind of situation with some of my decision making. But yeah, I always just try and give my opinion based on, you know, the information I have, and obviously, like everybody else, any other content creator, I can't predict the future, so I just have to say that every time I give advice. Yeah, Brian, I know what you mean. I mean, Brian, what worried me recently was I've seen people on Twitter, Chelsea fans on Twitter, saying that they hope Lampard gets the job for the long haul, which just almost made me cry, to be honest. I mean, I think that would be one of the worst decisions Chelsea has ever made. If yeah, Lampard's just not the man to take Chelsea forward at all. I mean, watching Lampard Chelsea football, I mean, there's just no ideas there at all. There's nothing. There's no hope. I mean, there's no tactics. Even the players didn't seem up for the game on Wednesday, which is just incredible to me. Like, how can you not be up for a Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid? I mean, it's just inexcusable. But yeah, that's my mini rant over. Hopefully Chelsea get a proper manager. I mean, I can't believe we sacked Tuchel, but I mean, I've said that enough times now that we have to move on from it. But fingers crossed, Chelsea actually get a good manager, and the bounce back starts next season. But I think that's going to do us for this week, unless there's anything else to discuss. Which I don't think there is. If we have any other questions or anything, put them in the chat and I will answer them before I go. But barring that, I think I will end the stream for this week. Surely not. He's just there to play those new kids and get no flag. That's the thing, Brian. I mean, I would love to see him play some of the younger academy players this week, or even the new players like the likes of Mudryk, Madueke, Carney Chukwuemeka, Lewis Hall, even flipping take Kepa out and bring in Gabriel Slaloni or Marcus Bettinelli or something like that, you know. But fingers crossed he does do that, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The game is at 3 o'clock, so it won't be until 2 o'clock until we see the deadline. I'm not worried about selling Chilwell at all. That kind of just tells me. See, when you make a transfer and you feel completely fine about doing it, that's when you've made a good transfer, in my opinion. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a attacking return this week. But we'll have to wait and see. That's if he even starts after getting red carded in the Real Madrid game. Lampard may punish him or something, but I doubt it. I think Chilwell's pretty safe to start this week. But that's going to do it for Gameweek 31 deadline stream. If you did enjoy the stream, please do drop a like before you go. I hope everybody has a good game week. I wish everybody good luck this week. I hope everybody gets a green arrow, including myself. I would love to move up, deeper into the top 100k, because we're just sat at 99k at the minute. So anything else to push us further into the top 100k would be great. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great weekend and a good game week. I appreciate everybody that stopped by in the stream and enjoyed it and liked it and left me questions, etc. We'll be live next week for the deadline, whenever it is. I think it's maybe Friday we'll be live. My team selection video will be going live some point this week, so make sure to check that out. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the season, so we're only 9 away I think at the minute. So yeah, appreciate everybody that stopped by. Good luck this game week, and thanks for watching. See you.